Welcome back, everybody, to the Wandering Samurai Study, in which we review and analyze every single act told in Rurouni Kenshin. And today's act is Act 9, Kurogasa. Kurogasa? Kurogasa. So we did it! We finally made it to Kurogasa. We got through all of the main characters' introduction arcs. We've covered Kaoru, obviously, Act 1. Then we got Yahiko, and now we have Sanosuke. The only one that's left is Megumi, but she's getting here as fast as she can. And for now, we have the next Hitokiri that we're going to be talking about. But here he is, Kurogasa. This act was, how do I say it? Sanosuke's introduction chapter, I felt, was probably a little bit lacking, I guess, as far as material goes. The chapter was really over as soon as it began, and I felt while reading this one, it was, wow, there was a lot going on before it really began. And really, the opening page really sets the tone for what we're about to get into, and it is dark. It is so dark. It is opening up on a dark stormy night, and on the floor there's men dead, bodies slain, and a person fiending for their life as this man is hunting them down. It is about the darkest thing that we have seen so far. And the story of Kenshin is the story of a man who used to kill to lead a revolution. So Kurogasa is, it really, just from, like I said, from that opening page, it really is just, it strikes a contrast between who Kenshin is and this person, this new villain that we're going to encounter in these next couple chapters. Really, even just like I said, the opening page just being as dark as it is, but the title page being as light as it is a page of Kenshin smiling into the distance with a cherry blossom tree in the background. It's night and day between these two people. Quite literally in the pages. It's Kurogasa is night and Kenshin's in the sunlight day. So let's go ahead and get into the chapter. The act opens on a dark scene of a man hunting down a now rich former patriot. At Kaoru's dojo, the group is eating some of Kaoru's terrible cooking, now including Sanosuke. The Tokyo police chief arrives at the dojo, recruiting Kenshin to take care of a low-key issue that doesn't even include the media, regarding the man from the first page. After hearing a description of the type of killer involved in this incident, Kenshin feels a sense of obligation and accepts the favor from the police chief. The patriot that Kenshin and Sanosuke agreed to protect is one who's allowed the 10 years of Meiji to corrupt his soul, though Kenshin implies that he may have already had a corrupt soul to begin with. At the stated time, Kurogasa strikes, killing one of the other men hired to protect the Patriot. I really want to talk about the Patriot, but we'll get to him in a sec. I've already mentioned how there is an opening gag between each chapter. I think that Watsuki's really good at opening up the chapters in lighthearted tones, despite, serious things sometimes going on. We open up to a really dark page, and then we cut to a scene of Sanosuke joining the group during lunchtime, and not happy with Kaoru's terrible cooking. And Kenshin saying that it gets better, it's an acquired taste. It's just more of that lighthearted humor that I so very much enjoy in reading in Rurouni Kenshin. But the funniest thing about all of this is Yahiko, because Yahiko does not say a single word in this chapter, but I find Yahiko to be the funniest character in all of this act. And though he never says a word, believe me, I checked, Yahiko just made me laugh. And it's very deliberate what was going on. It was very deliberate what Watsuki was doing. He was clearly trying to put Yahiko as a joke. He was very much in the forefront, and even when the scene didn't necessarily involve him, they would give him a panel just to himself, just to show you what Yahiko was doing. And what was Yahiko doing? He was eating. And every single panel, including Yahiko, he is eating. He's so good. He's so good, and I will die on that hill protecting Yahiko in the manga. But other than that, I don't really feel like there's a whole lot to say in this chapter. Apart from the stuff that I already opened up by talking about. I guess the only other thing to say is to talk about the Patriot that Kenshin and Sanosuke are hired to protect. Because he is the very example of the type of person that Sanosuke lives to hate. He's the very type of Patriot, the very type of former Ishin Shishi that put the mark of Aku on Sanosuke's back. And so when Sanosuke agrees to go to this place, though he wasn't asked, and very comical, he has a reason for why he decided to go. Sanosuke doesn't hesitate to take the opportunity to attack the Patriot, because this is the very type of guy. I mean, he's fat, he's arrogant, he's greedy. He thinks that that he could throw some money to save his life. And the very type of people that he hired are the very type of people that you would never want to protect you, because they're obviously the ones that are going to get killed because they're arrogant. And I think that it's kind of interesting, the underlying subtext, because it's very much, this is the guy that he does not like, or this is the kind of guy that repulses him. But hey, at least Sanosuke isn't going to kill him. So let's go ahead and punch him up a few times. But I won't kill him. But then again, to talk about the Patriot, this is really the first time that we see one of the Inshinchishi, or one of the former Patriots, be the type of person that made it, that profited from the revolution. This is the very type of guy that is the reason why the revolution isn't over, and the reason why Sanosuke has decided to follow Kenshin. And it's pretty interesting the way that immediately after Sanosuke says, "I'm gonna follow you to see what kind of guy you are, to see if you aren't another hypocrite," and right away we are presented with a person who is the very type of person that Sanosuke loathes. So I thought, whether it was intentional or not, I think it is a very good inclusion. Just in case you were wondering back then, what kind of person is the type of Patriot that profited over the revolution and is abusing the good faith of the people who did not quite make it into the Meiji, or the people that are, got the short end of the stick after the revolution. This is him. This is him. Because the other former Patriots are pretty graceful if you kind of think about it. I mean, though we only have really two examples, one of them being Kenshin and the other being Yamagata, and then later Okubo. These three men are really, I guess you would say, well-natured. Though Yamagata took the high-paying job and is, probably doing better off than most people in the Meiji era, he doesn't come across as somebody who is malicious. And as a matter of fact, took down the police swordsman after noticing the corruption that was taking place in the conflict between Kenshin and the police swordsman. And Kenshin even puts him into his own place when saying, like, you can easily be just like these people, and it stops him. So this guy, I don't believe that Kenshin could ever say anything to him, and I don't think that Kenshin ever actually says anything to him to try to. Well, he does. He does. He does. And I'll include the panel here for you guys to see. But it's just an interesting contrast. We get our first example of a corrupt patriot benefiting in the Meiji era. And that is Act 9, Kurogasa. And Kurogasa has not a whole lot of inclusion in this chapter, not the way that Sanosuke did in his introduction chapter, but we'll get to him. Hey everybody, I just wanted to include this thing that I noticed after reading both Chapter 9 and Chapter 10 and editing the video. Kurogasa, or Jin-e, hasn't yet been mentioned by name until Chapter 10, and he's mostly stayed absent in Chapter 9, besides the initial attacks in the beginning of the chapter and as well as the end. And this is due to
him being called Kurogasa. We know him right now as just the manslayer, the Hitokiri, but not yet as a character who has a personality. It's kind of like the Zodiac Killer. That's kind of the equivalent of Kurogasa. We do not know anything about Kurogasa, just the name, and what he does is just killing in the dark.
We'll get to him. But for now, we'll go ahead and end the video. If you like this video and you want to see more, then consider subscribing to the channel and give a thumbs up to tell me that I did a good job. And comment down below what you thought of this introduction chapter. What do you think about the points that I made with the contrast between Kenshin and Kurogasa, this new enemy that we're going to encounter? What do you think of Sanosuke's inclusion and the example of the type of person that Sanosuke is not very fond of, for lack of a better term. The type of man that put the mark of Aku on Sanosuke's back. What do you think of this chapter? Just go ahead and talk to me in the comments down below, and I'll go ahead and reply when you do comment. But for now, I'll see you guys on Thursday for Act 10. Bye, ciao.